feeling tonight? Feel good? As you should. It's a bluegrass show, and we're celebrating a bluegrass book. So if you guys are really quiet, that's the wrong way to be. You gotta be very excited and loud. Bluegrass is a loud, fast, powerful form of music, and with that comes community. So this book, The Hard Driving Bluegrass in Baltimore, The Hard Driving Sounds and Its Legacy by the author Tim Newby, really embodies that character of community and family and this local town. So when we first started the festival, one of the first people I called was Tim. And I said, Tim, tell me everything you can about bluegrass in Baltimore. So around 3-4 hours later, I was like, you know what, I think it's pretty viable to start this little thing here in this city and see what happens. And 3 years later, because of Tim's support and his guidance and mentorship, we now have a community festival that I hope many of you will have attended and will attend for years to come and bring your kids to. And hopefully your kids can pick at the festival someday. But enough about that. We're here to celebrate this book. It's a fabulous book. Buy a copy. I've read it. I'm really freaking impressed. And I learned a lot of things I didn't know. So without further ado, Mr. Tim Newby, author extraordinaire.
Hey, Tim! All right!
How's everybody doing tonight?
All right!
Like Phil said, make some noise, so make some noise. All right, guys. So first I'd like to start off, and let's say some thank yous here. I'd first like to thank Phil for that great introduction up there. And if you guys haven't had a chance to go to the Charm City Folk and Bluegrass Festival, you're missing out. It is the best festival, not just in Baltimore or the area, but it might be the best bluegrass festival in the country right now. It's awesome, and it's in our hometown, so make sure you get out there and support it. I'd also like to thank Josh and the Creative Alliance for hosting us tonight. It's an amazing space, it's an amazing venue, and I'm so glad we're here. I would like to thank everybody here. I'd like to thank all my new friends who I've had the pleasure of meeting tonight. If I haven't met you tonight, I'll be wandering around. I'll be sitting at a table signing books, hint, hint. And I'd love to meet you then. I would like to thank all my friends who took the time to drive here, to get babysitters, to come and support me. It means a lot. You guys are important. Then I'd like to thank my family. It's this big, gigantic, loud group sitting over here. And I'd like to thank everybody for sitting next to them because you're going to be dealing with a lot of crap tonight. I would also like to thank my wife, Melissa. She's been running around all night taking pictures. She's working the table. But more than that, we got to this show and this book because she really helped me out. She read drafts of the book. She helped me with editing things. She helped me come up with ideas. So I'd really like to thank her. Melissa back there in the white dress. I love you. All right. Now I know everybody's excited to get to the music. I know some of you want to hear me talk, but more of you guys want to hear the music, and that's why we're here. But I want to tell you guys a little story first. All right? The idea for this book came about in January of 2011. I was doing an interview with Del McCoury, the man, and through the course of our conversation, he kind of talked all about his time in Baltimore. And I was vaguely aware of, this history in Baltimore. But as he kept talking about it, it really started resonating with me. And he said something. He said, there was Nashville and there was Baltimore. And I thought, wait a minute, there's a story here. So I just started researching casually and looking things up, and I kept telling my wife these stories and these things, and we drive by somewhere, and I'd say, I think that's where this place was. And she finally made the really accurate observation, and that'd be a good book. And I thought, that's really good, you're right, it would. And then about 3 seconds later, I said, I want to have a book release show. I want to have a book release show at the Creative Alliance, and I want to have Caleb Stein, Bluestone, Chris Jacobs, and Patrick McAvinue play. And she said, that sounds awesome as well, but how do we write the book? So I tell you this story for this, because just as it was a goal for me to get this printed, it was a goal to have you guys here. And just a few minutes when the music starts, it's going to be as exciting as a moment for me as it was a few weeks ago when I got this copy in my hands. And I hope it's as exciting for you guys as when you got this copy in your hands. For those of you who don't have a copy in your hands, there's a big table in the lobby, stacks of books. My lovely wife is sitting there. We'll be selling them then. Hint, hint. Now, again, before we go on, I want to say one other thing. Music is alive. It's not meant to be sat down to. It's meant to be stood up and hoot and hollered and yelling and dancing and having a great time. Music connects us, it reminds us of the good times, and it helps us get through the bad times. All right, so if tonight you feel you need to get up and hoot and holler or dance or do something, do it. I guarantee you, my buddy in the red shirt right there, after his second or ninth beer, he's gonna get up and be a dancing fool guy. So let's all be dancing fool guys tonight and get up and dance and have a great time. Yeah, right? Make some noise. Now, as I thought, how do I want to introduce these amazing bands? These bands are some of my favorite bands. I am so lucky to be able to introduce these bands on stage. These aren't bands that I was just like, hey, let's get them to play. These are my favorite bands. I love these bands. And I thought, how do I introduce them to these people out here? And I thought, well, I have this book, and it has all these words and sentences in here. And I thought, they are such an important part of this story, I'm going to let these words introduce them on stage. The sounds of fiddle and guitar mingle with the quiet calm of an unseasonably cool mid-August day that would normally be filled with unrelenting heat and stifling humidity, but today is filled with the sweet sounds of an afternoon picking session. The sounds are interrupted by the occasional rumble of a car going past the wide-open front door, which allows the cool breeze to filter in and cool down the hot picking between the two musicians taking place in the back of the store. The name of the store is Childs. It's located in Childs, Maryland, 50 miles north of Baltimore. With its rustic exterior and old-timey furniture on sale, the inside looks as if it has been untouched by the hands of time. The two musicians are seated across from each other. The older man with the gray handlebar mustache is seated on a large, well-worn couch and picking away at his guitar he had proudly showed earlier with Hazel Dickens' autograph on it. The tall, lanky, bearded younger man across from him has been alternating between guitar and fiddle. The pair have been trading off the songs, each playing a couple of tunes they have recently written, as well as honoring their request for some personal favorites from their music-playing buddy. They are both powerful singers who write rich, dynamic songs of simple pleasures, like mom's homemade bread and Vienna sausages. The songs spring to life as they roll out the tongues of the two musicians in this quaint, personal setting. For those who want to follow along, we are on page 132. For those who don't have a copy, table, books, my wife. The younger man is Caleb Stein, a transplanted musician from Colorado who has spent the past decade living in Baltimore. Stein is the soul of the current Baltimore music scene. He finds himself equally comfortable and accepted in any realm he chooses to play. He glides easily from shows at the Hipster Haven Auto Bar with indie bands and alt-rockers to his powerful and compelling album he recorded with Baltimore rapper Celine, to regular shows at rundown honky-tonk joints like 1999 Fleet Street, where his sets reflect the past tradition of bluegrass and hillbilly music so common in similar Baltimore bars years before. His music falls somewhere between the renegade cowboy poetry of Townes Van Zandt and the sweet rough and tumble sound of Neil Young's Harvest. The power in his music comes not from overwhelming volume or violent guitars, but from simple strums and carefully measured words that together carry an army of unmatched strength. Stein is deeply woven into the fabric of the city and has released 6 albums that reflect the vibrant, troubled passion that is Baltimore. He embodies what music is all about. He is the real deal as an honest, pure songwriting musician. He doesn't do it for anything but the artistry and then the expression. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Caleb Stein.
Born in the mountains 50 years ago, walked these hills and valleys through the rain and snow. I seen the lightning flashing and I heard the thunder roll. Yes, I've endured. How long must one endure? Well, barefoot in the summer, on into the fall. Too many mouths to feed and they couldn't clothe us all. Got sent to church on Sunday to learn the golden rule. But I've endured. How long must one endure? Well, I worked for the rich and I lived with the poor. Yes, I've seen many heartaches and I'll see many more. Yeah, I've lived and loved and sorrowed, been to success's door. But I've endured. How long must one endure? Yes, I've endured. How long can man endure? Well, I wish I was in Baltimore, sitting in a big armchair, one arm around a whiskey jug and one arm around my dear. It's Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love, I'm bound for Mexico. Well, some come here to fiddle and dance, some come here to tarry, some come here to take that chance, some come here to marry. It's Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love, I'm bound for Mexico. I wish I had a needle and thread as fine as I could sew. I'd tie that pretty girl to my side and down the road we go. It's Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love, I'm bound for Mexico. Oh, peaches in the summertime and apples in the fall. If I can't have that Shady Grove, I'll have none at all. It's Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love, bound for Mexico. That's right. Well, we'll kick it off there with a couple old songs, just to prove Baltimore has a little street cred there and the old-timey tunes. You know, that's one of the great things about this book. I mean, I think probably write another dozen books, Tim, because it's like it seems like every corner you turn, there's some new tidbit that pops up about Baltimore and about the musical history here. And yeah, I'm from Colorado, and I think you know, growing up, I knew I wanted a different kind of thing. Like, you know, I was reading Jack Kerouac and listening to Bob Dylan and that whole thing, and I love the West, but I also had this feeling like, oh, there's like this whole other world out here, and there's something happening. And when I hit Baltimore, it just sort of made sense. Of course, I thought I'd be here for about a year, and that was like 15 years ago. Yeah, it does that to you. But I'm a songwriter, and I'm going to give you a little Shakespearean tragedy here in 3 acts, compressed into a country song. Well, she went off and found God. I think that I found Satan. He was waiting in my mouth for a chance to jump out and turn her loving into hating. Yes, and all those words, they weren't mine. I'd never stoop to that level. When she tried to resist and I used my fist, it must have been the devil. Ah, and if I was a weaker man, I'd blame this whiskey in my hand. but late at night it's plain to see. Ain't no devil, there's just me. Well, she grabbed her clothes and she grabbed the phone and she took off with the children. Now in my home the ghosts do roam, though I try my best to kill them. I think about her fiery eyes and the meals she used to make me. Well, times are bad, but when I think of what I had, it's about enough to break me. Yes, and if I was a blaming man, I'd blame this town, this dry land. But late at night, it's plain to see, there ain't no ghost, there's just me. Well, still at times I get the mind to just head off towards the border. I'd search every town and hunt her down, never mind the restraining order. Oh, and when I found her, I'd take one knee and I'd ask her to forgive me. There'd be a quiver in her voice, I'd grab her and the boys and take them all home with me. Yes, and if I was half a man, I'd get right up and do that plan. But late at night, it's plain to see, ain't no man here, there's just me. Well, this book has been personally helpful to explain a few things to me. For instance, this quote here. This lack of business acumen or professionalism proved to be the biggest hindrance for many musicians from Baltimore. How did he know? Brilliant. This guy is brilliant. You know, I don't have to tell you people. You're on my side. This world is a crazy place. You know? Amen. And you know, we all do our best to make our way through it. We want to find something, you know, something to not grumble about. And I found something that I feel pretty passionately about. Something that I think brings us all together. Something I like to do. I'm eating butter. I'm eating cheese. I'm eating anything I please. No need to tell me the calories. I'm eating butter. Yes, I eat gluten and I eat meat. Hell, I'd eat pizza straight off the street. I'm on no diet, so I don't cheat. I'm eating butter. Ah, 'cause butter is cream taken from a cow. They turn it to a solid and I don't know how. Butter my pecans, put butter on my toast. But butter in my belly is the butter I like most. I'm eating butter, I'm eating jam, I'm eating bacon, bacon from ham. No turkey bacon, no thank you ma'am. I'm eating butter. I'm eating sushi, I'm eating steak, I'm eating those little sausages, I'm eating steak, I eat those things to take a break from eating butter. 'Cause butter is cream taken from a cow. They turn it to a solid and I don't know how. Butter my pecans, butter on my toast, but butter in my belly is the butter I like most. I'm eating butter, I'm eating cheese, I'm eating anything I please. No need to tell me the calories. I'm eating butter. So pass the biscuits and hold the peas. I'm eating butter. Thank you very much. I'm going to call a couple friends up here to help with a couple tunes. You know, we're just out on tour and heard this great story. Speaking about dietary things, you know, you're always, you know, in new people's houses having great meals, talking, and we were talking with these people. They were driving their family across country, and vegetarianism had come up a couple days before. They're driving across country, and they're passing one of these cattle farms, and there was a particular odor that alerted the youngest daughter to what was going on. She said, "You know what? That's it. I'm not eating hamburgers anymore. From now on, Dad, it's only cheeseburgers for me." This is Chris Jacobs. And the beautiful Miss Laura Wortman from the Honey. Okay, we did the crowd-pleasing butter song. So now we're gonna do the existential, like dealing with death song. All right, but it's a fun one. Well, the long path, yeah, it takes so long. Half the time you're gonna think you went wrong. You better bring a good traveling song on the long path. Yeah, the long path, well, it's a lonely one. You gotta get a lot of thinking done, but you won't be able to tell no one, 'cause it's the long path. Better pay attention. Late at night you could catch a glimpse of second sight. You never know when a new friend might appear in the form of a blinding light on the long path. Well, the long path, you'll know you're halfway there when you look at your reflection and you got white hair and yellow teeth. Ah, but you don't care. It's the long path. Yeah, now the long path, it ain't got no signs, no restroom stops, no telephone lines. You beg for death, but death declines the long path. Better pay attention. Late at night you could feel the breath of pure delight. You never know when a new friend might appear in the form of a blinding light on the long path. Oh, now the long path, it might stop for a while. You lean back, you drink your wine and smile, but you wake up to find you're one more mile down the long path. Oh, and the long path, well, it gets whispered about. There's a couple of books that might help you out, but you walk it alone. There ain't no doubt, 'cause it's the long path. Better pay attention. Later at night you could catch a glimpse of second sight. You never know when a new friend might appear in the form of a blinding light on the long path. Oh, you took the long path, baby. You went out for groceries, you ended up on the long path. Oh, you took the long path.